Denny Hamlin has finally spoken again, and what he just said is sending shockwaves through the entire NASCAR community tonight.
Two race teams just sued NASCAR, stating the France family and NASCAR are monopolistic bullies, and bullies will continue to impose their will to hurt others until their targets stand up and refuse to be victims. The moment has now arrived.
What do you get when the most competitive athlete of all time challenges the most powerful racing league in the country? A battle that could rewrite the rulebook for every NASCAR team and put Jordan's entire racing empire on the line. On June 5th, 2025, the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals dropped a bombshell. In a 3-0 decision, it overturned a previous injunction that had allowed Michael Jordan's 23 X-Ray Racing and Front Row Motorsports to retain their NASCAR charters while suing the league. Without the injunction, the teams are left exposed, forced to race as open entries without guaranteed spots, major financial losses looming, and the possibility of not qualifying at all.
Michael, are you disappointed that you're going for a championship and this is also hanging over you?
No, I've been in situations of disparity. I mean, I think the race team's going to focus on what they have to do this weekend, which I expect them to. And I think Jeffrey did an unbelievable job today. And I think, I put all my cards on the table. I think we did a good job of that. And, but I'm looking forward to winning the championship this weekend, though.
This ruling sent shockwaves through the NASCAR world. Fans, analysts, and insiders scrambled to understand the ramifications, while teams privately questioned what the future might hold. Could a precedent be forming? One that would discourage any other team from ever challenging NASCAR's power again? But let's rewind. How did the NBA legend end up locked in a courtroom battle with the governing body of stock car racing? Back in October 2024, Jordan and Denny Hamlin, co-owners of 23XI Racing, filed a federal antitrust lawsuit against NASCAR. Their target? The controversial charter system, a structure that gives teams guaranteed spots in races and a share of revenue, only if they sign over their rights to sue NASCAR. Jordan's camp argued this was monopolistic and illegal, alleging that NASCAR's practices strangle competition and force teams into silence with coercive contracts.
It's hard to win everything, but certainly we've remain committed to running our cars, whether it's chartered or open, whatever it is. We've said it for the entire season. We're going to be racing this year no matter what. We're going to have our day in court in December, and we look forward to that day.
The lawsuit wasn't just about business. It was a bold statement from one of the most competitive minds in sports. Michael Jordan didn't just want a seat at the NASCAR table, he wanted to change how the table was built. He believed teams deserved more power, more voice, and a future that wasn't locked behind closed doors. At first, the teams had momentum. In December 2024, a federal judge granted them a preliminary injunction, allowing them to continue racing with charter protections while the lawsuit played out. This meant stable funding, race guarantees, and crucial sponsor confidence. For 23XI, it was a massive win. But it didn't last. When the case reached the appellate level, everything shifted. The Fourth Circuit's June ruling didn't just reverse the injunction, it dismissed the core argument that the charter system was likely violating antitrust laws. According to the court, the teams failed to show a high likelihood of success. NASCAR's release clause, which forces teams to forfeit legal challenges, wasn't deemed illegal. The impact was immediate. Without their charters, 23XY and Front Row must now operate as open teams. That means no guaranteed entry into races. Every week, they'll have to qualify on speed alone. The financial hit is brutal. Without charter status, their cut of NASCAR's revenue disappears, and the likelihood of missing races threatens sponsor deals, driver retention, and long-term stability. For a team like 23XI, backed by Jordan's reputation and Hamlin's expertise, this wasn't just a financial blow. It was a strategic threat. Sponsors sign on for visibility. If there's a chance the car doesn't make the race, sponsors might walk. Drivers, too, may begin to rethink their future with a team that lacks stability. Denny Hamlin, speaking for 23XI, didn't mince words. He called the ruling a setback, but stressed that this was only one piece of the broader legal war. Michael Jordan, known for his unrelenting competitive drive, remains committed to seeing the fight through. The full antitrust trial is scheduled for December 1st, 2025, and both teams are preparing for a high-stakes courtroom battle. But this lawsuit isn't just about money or pride, it's about power. NASCAR, in turn, launched a counterattack. They filed a countersuit accusing the teams and Jordan's longtime business manager, Curtis Polk, of forming an illegal cartel to undermine the league's authority. NASCAR is defending the charter model as essential for operational stability and parity. It's a narrative twist worthy of primetime drama. Jordan, the underdog-turned-giant, now framed as a conspirator in a sport he's still learning. And NASCAR, historically unchallenged, is fighting to maintain control of its turf. The implications are massive. If Jordan's team wins in December, NASCAR could be forced to overhaul its entire business structure. Charters could become optional or restructured to ensure fairer access. A loss, however, could cement NASCAR's dominance and make it nearly impossible for teams to challenge its authority in the future. In the midst of this legal storm, NASCAR made history in another way. On June 15, 2025, just 10 days after the court's decision, the sport held its first ever points-paying race in Mexico, the Viva Mexico 250 at Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez.
He's trying to get back to the 43 of Eric Jones so he can deliver some payback from what happened earlier there. Ty Gibbs continues his climb through the field.
And it was Shane Van Gisbergen who stole the spotlight. The New Zealand driver, who made headlines in 2023 by winning on debut in Chicago, dominated a rain-soaked, dramatic event. Starting on pole, SVG overcame wet conditions and fierce competition to take the checkered flag. His win, inspired in part by advice from F1 champion Max Verstappen, proved his versatility across racing disciplines. But just behind him, another story was unfolding. Mexican driver Daniel Suarez, racing on home soil, brought fans to their feet. Though he finished 19th in the Cup race after briefly leading, his emotional return resonated. The day before, Suarez had pulled off a miraculous win in the Xfinity Series, recovering from a crash to win in the rain, bringing his home crowd to tears. Meanwhile, Christopher Bell finished second in the Cup race and praised SVG's performance, saying he was clearly faster. Chase Elliott rounded out the podium. Kyle Larson recorded the fastest lap of the day, while SVG led 59 of the 100 laps. The elevation and rain pushed drivers and crews to their limits, but SVG thrived where others struggled. The contrast between the exhilaration in Mexico and the turbulence back home couldn't be more stark. While NASCAR celebrates global expansion and dramatic on-track action, its internal structure is under fire. The antitrust case threatens to upend everything from team funding to how races are even filled. The timing is no coincidence. By pushing international races and high-stakes drama, NASCAR may be trying to shift the narrative away from the courtroom, but the reality is, until the December trial concludes, the future remains uncertain. For 23XI Racing, the road ahead is steep, both on the track and in federal court. Jordan didn't enter NASCAR just to be a figurehead. He's invested millions, hired top talent, and built a brand that's supposed to last. Now he's risking it all to challenge the system from within. If he wins, he could be remembered not just as an NBA icon, but as the man who changed NASCAR forever. And if he loses, the charter system becomes bulletproof. Teams will be forced to play by NASCAR's rules or get left behind. So the question remains, will Michael Jordan's racing legacy be defined by victory on the track or in the courtroom? So what do you think? Should NASCAR teams have more power, or is the system just fine the way it is? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the untold story shaping the world of racing, because this fight is far from over, and the next chapter could change everything.